Dr. Harlan, if these power readings are accurate, our suspicions appear confirmed.
What's that now? What suspicions?
Educated guess, rather.
Which is different how?
We were concerned that residual power currents may have allowed the biomass to continue spreading for some time after the lockdown.
Okay. And?
Webs have likely taken hold. Caution is advised, Jack.
Acknowledged.
Jack, the entry terminal has a control console that might help you bypass the facility lockdown.
It seems someone was emphatic about maintaining the lockdown. I'm guessing the console would have controlled the bridge.
Affirmative.
I'm crossing into the main facility now.
Copy that, Jack.
Biomass has taken hold here.
Given that it got this far, the rest of the facility will likely be much worse.
Will the fabricator still be operational?
Yes, at least enough that Jack should be able to reboot without issue.
In the security control room, I found a casualty.
According to logs, Adler Reyes.
He must have been trying to keep the scanners running to prevent the biomass from leaving the facility.
But if someone failed the scan...
They would have had to remain behind. Unfortunately, even the scanning room itself became contaminated.
Jack, you are now entering the facility's lobby. Biomass containment is located through the leftmost door.
She was one of our pathologists.
Data recovery successful. She apparently died shortly after completing an emergency containment procedure. I'll play back the file.
To engage a Type 3 containment firebreak, please follow these steps. First, locate the access panel. To release it, slide it perpendicular to its housing. Please discard the panel safely. Next, grip the emergency disconnect switch. Pull it sharply. Local power systems should deactivate. Lastly, If you have any reason to believe that you are carrying an infection, please refrain from crossing the fire break. Doing so will nullify its effect.
This area appears to be locked down.
That's the test wing. We should focus on reaching the containment area. Shields at 95%.
Another one of the web forms. I still have no way to bypass.
Then try the labs. The research they were doing there might prove useful.
Copy that. I'll see what I can find.
Jack, the web in the lobby must be bypassed in order to reach biomass containment. I recommend searching the corridors for anything that might be useful.
Electrical systems here are clearly suffering from extreme damage. The lobby's directory is effectively useless.
Good thing we've got someone who knows their way around.
Always happy to be of assistance, Captain.
I was actually talking about Dr. Harlan. But thanks.
There's some kind of added security here.
Dr. Everett Harlan reporting. Authorized laboratory access.
Voice-activated authorization. That's a smart security feature.
Thank you. And you're welcome.
This switch controls power for this hallway. This must be the emergency disconnect Dr. Leamington pulled to try and slow the outbreak.
They really did all they could to try and get the infestation under control.
They knew once it was out, they couldn't stop it. All they could do was buy time for everyone else on the station.
What sort of research were they doing?
The director was convinced a cure was impractical. So she poured everything into containment technology.
Did she have any luck?
When I left, she had everyone working on miniaturizing the insulation cloaking from our containment unit. I'm not sure how far they got.
Biological specimens.
The director was always in here, dissecting, testing. She was tireless.
She must have had a cast iron stomach.
One of the toughest people I have ever known.
Please note that the robotic arms are very flexible, Jack. They may be targeted in almost any direction.
Is this some type of emitter?
It looks to be a functional prototype. I knew they were close, but I didn't know they had moved into practical testing. The basic concept was to surround the biomass with a cloak of electromagnetic insulation, preventing energy from reaching it.
Kind of like using a blanket to smother a flame.
Indeed. The idea was to build these cloak emitters as a reactive defense against the biomass, to contain it.
That could have a wide array of tactical applications.
It's a stall-at best, not a solution. I wish you could have seen that.
Such versatile technology.
And it still wasn't enough.
I wonder if they moved this prototype into production.
Even if they did, it clearly wasn't enough to stop an outbreak. This is why we need a cure.
This transparent aluminum is reinforced.
Unfortunately, that's still not enough to withstand concerted biomass growth.
These controls are running some sort of automated procedure.
The system is no longer reachable over the network. Cut off by the biomass, no doubt. It must be an old test, abandoned during the outbreak and resumed now that we've restored power.
I assume these microscopes were used to observe the biomass.
I believe so, yes.
Development of the biomass containment technology required research at the macro, micro, and even nanoscopic scales.
With these microscopes, the researchers would have been able to observe the effect of their containment technology in real time, with a more manageable sample size, of course.
It must have been a heavy responsibility to work so closely with live biomass samples.
It was not without its risks.
So, would you say it was more or less risky than intentionally infecting your own FTL drive?
If you have any less precarious solutions, Captain, I'm all ears.
The glass is broken. I'm afraid your former workplace has seen better days, Doctor.
External spread was what breached the chamber.
It appears the entire facility became one contiguous test chamber.
And that too was breached.
Biomass at the exit neutralized.
It's possible I failed to foresee some of the cloak emitter's eventual implications.
Sounds like your research director was on the right track.
Nora. She never gave up. I could hardly ever pull her away from her work.
Dr. Harlan, if I may interject, the local data I'm seeing implies that the director's efforts to develop cloak emitters proceeded beyond prototyping. Portable versions were installed in some of the X3 medtech shells. Several of these shells appear to have been left behind in the medical wing.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
I believe it may be possible to fit Jack with a similar device, a portable cloak emitter.
What is involved?
I'll need you to retrieve the data from one of the medtech shells here. With that, I should be able to reconstruct the portable cloak emitter's design.
Copy that. I'll see what I can find.
Jack, this is the primary examination room, where prototype cures were administered to volunteers.
These medical beds were used for diagnostic scans?
And to monitor potential treatments. Many of my peers focused on post-diagnosis options.
This log indicates a multitude of visitors. Some were children.
Yes, Many of the station's personnel had families. Most of their children were suitably behaved. Some were not. Still, I hope they reached safety.
This toy appears to have been left behind.
Brendan Lyles. It has to be. That boy was always leaving his toys about. A habit he does not appear to have corrected in my absence. I am glad he made it out, though. Perhaps not being able to return for it this time has taught him a lesson.
It's more likely he has simply fabricated a new one.
Shush, Juno.
I'll need to manually open this door. I assume it was shut down as another precaution?
Most likely. If the medtech shells have data we can use to reconstruct a portable cloak emitter, it will be worth the risk.
I'm entering the medical lab.
Doctor, perhaps you should step away for a moment. I'm sure there's still plenty of output data to parse before we're ready to initiate the experiment.
She's here, isn't she? Juno.
More than likely. Yes.
The research director.
I can handle it, Juno.
Are you certain?
I'm not looking away.
Ah, my suspicions were correct. They did develop a portable version of the cloak emitter. Unfortunately, the data contained in this shell is only partial. Jack, to complete the reconstruction, I'll need you to scan additional units.
Understood. This device indeed appears to be a portable cloak emitter.
With more data, I should be able to reconstruct its design. There should be additional medtech shells in the vicinity.
Oh, God.
A researcher, one of our anesthesiologists.
Dr. Adriana Lay.
She was too young for this.
I've recovered her research. It also seems she received a message from Dr. McKenna with all of his access codes attached. Would you like me to play it?
Not right now.
Very well. I'll store the message for playback later. If any of Dr. McKenna's codes prove useful, I'll add them to your ARM computer.
Thank you. Who was this person?
Dr. Franklin Teller, a fellow geneticist.
You knew him.
I knew all of them.
A keypad for the duct. Juno, could one of Dr. McKenna's codes work here?
I believe so, yes. Try 2525.
Access to the utility ducts granted. Moving through the vents now.
Tell me something, Doctor. How long does it take
What?
for the infection to run its course?
Once it becomes fully active, usually somewhere between 3 to 5 days. But most victims opt to expedite their end.
Right. So, how does the infection work once it becomes active? I mean,
The biomass drains energy directly from your cells. Your body is in the throes of widespread cellular decay. Major organ failure follows 12 to 18 hours later.
Excellent. That shell contained more data regarding the portable emitters. We'll need a good bit more to reconstruct the design, though. Scan complete. We still need more data. Interesting. Doctor, this shell has a log conversation regarding the director and your research.
Go ahead, Juno.
Beginning playback.
Alright, Unit 5, back to the lab. The director wants to run those simulations again.
Query. For what purpose?
I'm not sure. Dr. Harlan's ideas were intriguing, to say the least, but, well, I suppose the director knows best. Go ahead and prep the simulations. I'll join you shortly.
Acknowledge, Dr. McKenna.
huh. So the director eventually explored your theories after all?
I didn't expect she would continue it after I left. But without the biomasses-based genetic material, it would have been as much of a dead end as containment. I just couldn't convince her.
My reconstruction of the personal cloak emitter is nearly complete. One more scan should be sufficient.
Patient chart reveals catastrophic cellular breakdown.
Most likely an internal infection that passed through the tissue.
Does that happen in every case?
Eventually, but the host is usually deceased by then.
Well, that's a relief.
I found another arm equipped with a cloak emitter, a backup safety measure.
More than likely, but that's the problem. The biomass can't be contained, no matter how many redundancies you put in place.
Data collection complete. Finalizing tool reconstruction. Reconstruction complete. Please visit a fabricator to install your new cloak emitter.
I found another casualty of the biomass.
Dr. Jordan Decci. She specialized in pain management therapy for the infected.